And it's true. It's me. I'm live. I'm early. I'm on time. Whichever way you prove it. It's Friday. It's another Friday. Hello, hello. I think I have a little tiny bit of feedback in my mic. Let me check the audio since I am early and make sure that we're all good to go. I've got my mixed monitor. I'm going to turn that off. Mix to stream. Turn that off. I use a tool called the Stream Deck. And let me double check that I'm actually live here on YouTube while you guys pile in. Okay, I love it. It's a good day. It's a good Friday for a lot of reasons. And I'm pretty excited today because I'm going to do something that I had addressed in an earlier, I'm going back to my camera controls here. I had addressed in an earlier, very popular. We had a lot of people who showed up and watched the video of my Friday office hours about AI, which AI tools are useful. But I didn't get a lot of time in that to show you what I actually do. So today, I'm going to pull back the kimono and share with you some of the things that I do, because there's three main goals that AI, I think, helps us to achieve, or helps me to achieve. And I think it's really important for all of us to be aware of it. The three things are doing more productive output with less time. Okay. Less effort, less anxiety, less cost. So in other words, it's not so much about adding to your business. This is a conversation we're going to talk about as well, but it's more about what you can do to remove things from your business and make the same livelihood, so that you can focus on being better at what you do, happier, spend more time with the people in your life that matter, whether they be your friends, your family, your customers, yourself, your physical health, and so forth. And number two, becoming more focused on personal relationships. And that specifically means with regard to customers. So this has to do with, instead of playing gimmick game, and I'm going to create an AI bot that pretends to be Spence, I actually rather use AI tools to help me get more done for the customers I have, so I can spend time with them in personal interaction. That may be, much like yourself, through email. Might be through Zoom calls. It might be through actually getting on a text message or a phone call. Because when you are actually able to do more with less, and you can streamline by removing, you can actually spend your time on the things that are going to pay off. That is, making people feel like you've got their back, you've got them covered. In a world of infinite technology and infinite options and infinite confusion, it's really important to focus on the one thing. There's my hand. The one thing that you can do that nobody else can do. And that is being able to deliver personal service, personal support. And then finally, standardizing your tech stack. Of course, this involves LaunchKit. And of course, this involves the Lego / IKEA in the background there mindset. The idea is that if you have a standardized stack of stuff in your freezer, as I'm going to show you today, everything else becomes easier, because now what we're doing is we're not introducing things that break what you've already got, or things that compete with what you've already got. We're just adding tchotchkes, accessories. Anybody who's ever had a child or a niece or nephew, or anyone else, who, even an adult who loves Legos, or an adult who loves IKEA, understands the concept of adding on accessories to previously established blocks, previously established furniture. I had a long conversation. Let me go into IKEA mode and then we'll talk about this. Okay. So in my office setup, you've seen this for years now in my video. I've got this IKEA it's 8 drawers. I don't know what to call it, the umlaut or something like that. Notice the drawers. My friend who I'm dating, my girlfriend, is a really fashion conscious person. She runs a boutique. Drove her crazy that the drawers were not matched or in a certain order. And she was correct. The idea is one can get different colors, different types of accessories that fit in those slots. The idea is, if you have the slots, if you have the standard thing, you can stick with that as the framework and just replace little things inside of there to change the look, change the feel, change what it does. Maybe I don't need the drawers, like with 2 things. Maybe I just need more of those baskets, or maybe I need those big baskets, or maybe I need those baskets that are plastic with replaceable liners that I can write This is what's inside, like I used to when the kids were small. That's the idea. So by having a standardized stack of stuff, you can add to it, you can improve it using AI, as I'm going to show you, and you can flex your superpower muscles by actually coding stuff as long as you use the tools we've got. Okay, so we're going to have fun today. Everybody say hello. Say hello. If you're here, let me know who's here because I can't see that. I see we've got somewhere up to about 10 to 12 people here. Let's jump in. So what I'm going to do is go into Spence sharing the screen mode, and I have got a LaunchKit site for us to use today. And let's talk about these in order. Okay, number one, doing more productive output with less time. How does Spence pull that off? How do I recommend you pull that off? Okay, I read a really, really wonderful young man. I say young because he's, I believe, in his late 20s, maybe, Sahil Bloom. And he is really good at expressing the kinds of things that I have learned myself after 57 years. I also was listening to a few podcasts when I was driving up to Milwaukee this weekend for a couple things to see the Brewers game. And one of the things that came across is when you're faced with a problem or a series of problems, you could address it as a whole and start throwing more stuff at it, which inevitably leads to failure. Or you can approach it one problem at a time and eliminate things. And I have found every time, and Sahil Bloom talks about this as well, that if you approach your problems, solve one problem at a time. One problem. Oh, Kathleen, hello, my pickleball pal. I've been loving the pickleball this summer. I hope you are as well. That's my one joy of getting at least somewhat back to my old self. And Alex, good morning. Thanks, guys, for saying hi. Check in because I love to see that you're here. So I'm driving up to Milwaukee, and he's talking about this in the podcast, that if you have a series of problems and you continue to throw more stuff at it, it's like a soup that tastes bad and you just add more ingredients. What you have to do is you have to break it out into what is the one pain that I know is the biggest one of all, like triage. Let's get rid of everything and work on that problem. And if I can solve that problem, then I can solve the next problem. This has historically been the way that doctors have operated in the military, field of battle. This is the way that computer coders work. In WordPress, I deal with this all the time. Somebody's got a Frankenstein monster. Guess what I do first? I turn off everything. And if the problem is solved, I keep turning things on one at a time until I find the thing that breaks. Okay. So doing more productive output with less time means that what I like to do is look at what is the thing that drives your business. What is the one pain point that you primarily solve for your customers? We talked about it last week because I talked about how to design an effective billboard. So that top line of the billboard, what's the pain? Okay. You may be distracted, like the shiny ball syndrome that I talk about at WP Launchify. Let's get it on the screen. This happens all the time. Shiny ball syndrome is one of the two ailments that I cure, right? You spend a fortune on a huge array of plugins that sound amazing, only to find that you don't need or use all of them. Well, even inside of LaunchKit, there's enough toys and tools that you could get lost in shiny ball syndrome. And we don't want that to happen. We want you to stay focused. So ask yourself, what is the primary thing my business does? Now, since Kathleen, for example, came in, we had a nice conversation. I won't tell too much personal stuff because this is very common. We had a nice conversation about pickleball and what's the interest in pickleball. And one of the conversations led to the notion that today it's a very popular saleable item to do a newsletter, because what many people have as a problem is organization in the pickleball community, where to play, who to play, setting up tournaments. And that oftentimes the people that want to pay you are not actually the pickleball players. They're actually the advertisers or the sponsors or the people who want to get in front of the eyeballs of these people. So one example of using AI tools, one of the examples of keeping it simple is in the case of pickleball as a business. I can say, much like another client of mine had bird watching, the people that are your main audience, who are you going to focus on solving the pain for, are not going to be paying you. Weird, right? you're going to be attracting them because they want to get the information that you can acquire more readily or organize more readily for free. And once you've done that, the people paying you, the ones that are going to support the business, make it profitable, are the ones that want to get to them through you. Make sense? Okay. So let's put this into action. One of the things that I do using the tools for coming up with a business idea is deciding whether I can do it better creatively myself or whether I need some help. Second of all, whether I can do it more productively from a standpoint of knowledge myself or using a tool. Let's give a couple tangible examples. I'm going to go into full screen mode. One of the things that I do is I use the tools that I've talked about, like canva.com, right? So Canva is a design tool. And of course, they've got capabilities built in here where it has AI and so forth. I'm not a huge fan of using AI for designing in Canva because in Canva, one of the examples of using the tools properly is that I feel it's better when I just search for the things that look good to me. And then I use AI to come up with the rest of it. So watch what I do for my Fridays, because one of the pain points I solve is having these discussions on Friday that lead to content that help to draw more people in that have a phone call with me that we talk about their business. I search for YouTube templates. That's what I do every Friday, or usually Thursday or Wednesday. I'll talk about that in a second. And here we could come up with lots of different things. And I can be more specific. I could say like, modern or something else. And it gives me like a better array. There's also filters that I could use on this if I wanted, but that's not my main point. My main point is like, I'll come up with something clever and I go, this will be cool this week, right? Like, oh, love this one, chill out. And it gives me the basis where I can choose a bunch of cool stuff. I like the pink one a lot. So I'm going to customize it. Now, could AI do that better for me? I don't know. I don't think so, because this is a personality. This is like picking out socks for myself. But you know what AI could do for me is help me figure out the topic. Okay. So if I needed to make the topic, I might decide what are the most important, things that I've seen or heard from the calls with my clients this week that involve WordPress or pains in WordPress or tools that you can use. And that's where I will end up using a tool to help me come up with what to put onto here. Now, one of the things that this one provides me, by the way, is like I'm very limited because there's just big words, which isn't too bad either. So here's where I would use a tool. One of the tools that you can use is Perplexity. Perplexity is free for most people to use. You can also pay for it. But basically, I like Perplexity because it is a mix between a browser and an AI tool. And I might come up with a question like this. I'm doing a live event for my YouTube audience and need a very short and to the point, notice I misspelled, title for the video. And then I need 3 paragraphs that are an effective description of the subject. This is Spencer Foreman, and I'm a WordPress expert who deals with simplifying business ideas. Now, you could get a different prompt here, but here's what my point is. Give me 10 titles that are only a few words each, and then we can make the description from the one I picked. Notice I type fast, but I don't really care about the spelling errors. It doesn't really matter. Perplexity is typically able, I don't know what just happened. It sort of, it went off into la la land there for, let me go. I don't know what happened there. It just signed me in or something. AI is out to get me. I'm going to go back and see if I can find that one because somehow I must have just like either reset it or it logged me in. So let's see if I can find it. Here we go. So I I think it's here, but I think what's happening is the size of the screen. It's unhappy. Let's say. I don't know what's going on. Perplexity, having a bad day. Are you there? It's almost like it's having a bad moment. There we go. Okay. So I had to wake it up from its nap. Okay. So once I woke it up from its, I've never had that happen. Once it's waking up from its nap, which title would choose? So here's the 10 things that it gives me. Not that I need to use these, but these are very stimulating to me because like I can tell instinctually which things make sense for the people that I deal with. So it's really helping me as part of number one of doing more productive output because I don't necessarily have to brainstorm from scratch. I kind of say what's on my mind, and then it talks to me like mirror, mirror, simplifying WordPress for business, mastering WordPress, streamlining your business for WordPress. And I could ask it questions that are like, can you be specific to Gen X as well as WordPress? Let's see if it gives me a couple more blended ones. Okay, see, it went on its own. Okay, but the titles, I mean. Okay, so here, I like these a little better. So let's say, for example, because I have a Gen X oriented audience, simplifying WordPress for Gen X. I like that one, right? So I can do a couple things. Okay, please use this one and give me 3 paragraphs. I put in the prompt, and now it gives me back what will be the starting point for Spence to use my editorial decision making, right? A lot of times it's pretty close, but a lot of times it's really wordy. I could say, this is very, very wordy. Make it simpler, less words, you know. And then it's talking about me in third person. So I'll say, like, talk about this in first person as if you are me, Spence. That's mental. It says as Spencer Foreman. So that's ridiculous. Say it's Spence, not talking about me with my full name. Some of the LLMs are better than others at learning what you prefer, and you can save the prompt. So I don't often take this and stick with this. I'll oftentimes take this and edit it, maybe go to a better editor. Okay, so this one's a little closer. So hey, it doesn't say hey everyone, but like let's take this. Now what I can do is I'll use a tool to edit this online. I usually use an offline text editor, but I'll just say online text editor, and I'll just paste, you know, edit pad or anything, and I'll just paste it in place. This one's got a weird format, but it's good enough for right now. So, hey, hey, gang, I'm excited. Da, 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 da. And then I'm not going to bore you to tears with this, but I'll just essentially take this and I'll simplify it, get the words going, and then I'll use this inside of my YouTube video. For the title, I'm going to take that title and I'm going to use that inside of Canva, right? So simplifying WordPress for Gen X is where I will go back and I will just edit this, right? And then I'll just use the tools here that are so ridiculously simple. So I'll scale this, you know, just with the numbers and apply it and, you know, get it to fit and all the rest. So the idea is 2 tools. One is using AI to help me get off of my initial like brainstorming and do more. The other is publishing. So once I finish this and put my little tchotchkes on here, and for example, I've got elements that I've saved. You've seen me use these all the time. My uploads, you know, uh, what's a picture of me here or something that I use all the time. These tools are awesome because that's me like being goofy. I can just use the edit image. And now this is so amazing. This is why I would never pay for any other tool. I can just remove the background from this and I get rid of the yoga lady and I put Spence in here. And this is a little ridiculous, but like in just a matter of what, talking in 30 seconds, I get the basis of what's going on. And I might edit this image and I'll put like, in this case, I'll put a border around it. So I'll use the shadow capability. Background, one of these is the tool, adjust. and so forth. So I'll just use the shadow. I'll make a white background or, border on my head. Done. Okay. That's one of the tools that I use all the time, which is simplifying by using AI to get me closer to the thing I need and publishing fast. Another thing that I do that's very much like that is if cost. Okay, let's just talk about that in terms of cost. This is $12 for Canva. Perplexity is free. There was a big hubbubaloo lately about I don't know what the cost was, but like Adobe was charging, $35, $37. I don't know what it was charging per month. And it was stealing everybody's data because they were making you sign terms of service that said that everything you created was theirs. This is incredible. The cost of things is going to zero, but let's talk about it in terms of saved costs from using, I hate to say this, but using VAs. In the past, I might have had somebody making all my thumbnails. I might have had something doing my editorial, but I could just sit down like I literally did this morning with a cup of Joe, a bulletproof cup of Joe, and make this thing on my own and then save it. And you guys know that where I save stuff is I use bunny.net. Again, not an AI, but just thinking in terms of this process of how I'm running a company of one with tens of thousands of people on a list. The way I'm able to do it, let's go to this model, is I can take whatever I've saved and I can upload it if I want as a future asset, which I've done as an example here under storage. There's certain things that, I don't know, maybe I've put into here, LaunchKit. I can save images that I've created for future reuse, which helps you to evergreen your business. You have one library that's got CDN optimization, cost me $8 a month to have like everything I need, all the assets I create for all my businesses in one spot, which I can then remotely use. When I copy that URL, ta-da, there's the image. I don't have to go searching or hunting for it. I don't have to have like 15 services. So in terms of savings, I showed you a couple examples here, but like time, effort, anxiety, and cost. All by myself, short amount of time, exactly what I want with just a little nudge of help. Now, let's take this and go one step further because I want to show you something cool that anybody can become a coder. Yes, you can become a coder, but you shouldn't be a coder. You should be somebody who is using the IKEA six-pack oomphala or whatever, and AI, like I'm going to show you, is going to help you modify things to make it a little easier. Now, we can do advanced or we can do not so advanced, but let's do some basic stuff first. When you're using WordPress as a framework and you've got LaunchKit under the hood, we can use the coding capabilities of an LLM, even if you are not a developer, to do stuff that used to require a specialty framework plugin. Here's an example, and you're going to be blown away. First thing we need is we need a tool in order to test this stuff safely. So we're going to use a plugin that's free plugin that's called Fluent Snippets. It's by the same WP Manage Ninja team. But the reason I'm going to use this is this gives me a safety net in case I make something that's otherwise going to crash the site, which is a real possibility when you start building PHP or JavaScript-based plugins. But at the same time, it also provides a way to store and use the stuff you need in a way that is very much like the drawers. So once I install Fluent Snippets and I refresh the page, I'll have a tool here that I can put stuff into, okay? And it's right here. Let's use our admin menu editor to just organize the stuff alphabetically because we can. So I'm going to put Fluent Snippets up near the top so I can get to it real quickly when we're having our little conversation. By the way, admin menu editor, not AI, but definitely an example of how I read alphabetically. That's why I use admin menu editor to organize things alphabetically. I can't imagine how people manage their sites when they spend half an hour going up and down and up and down and up and down. Like, where's the thing I'm looking for? So Fluent Snippets is going to give us a container. Let's come up with something meaningful. Now, I right now do not have any WooCommerce orders in here or even any customers. But one of the things that I was doing this weekend was I was using the AI capability to build a tool that allowed me to just very quickly go and grab any of the customers or any of the tools or any of the orders. Or I could use this for posts. Let's just show you an example of how quick and simple it can be to do something with AI. First thing we want to use is choose an LLM. Now you can use ChatGPT, or you can use Claude, or you can use Gemini, or you can use Llama. ChatGPT is pretty good. I like it. I also like Claude. I'm going to use Claude. Good morning, Claude. And I'm going to create a new one. And here's what your prompt has to say. You first have to tell it to think like a WordPress developer. Think like an expert WordPress developer. I would like you to create a plugin for me that can, let's figure out something we can make it do, that can list out all users on the site into a special admin dashboard page called My Users. And on that dashboard page, I want it to have a link for each person that lets me go to their specific user profile page in the user admin part of the dashboard. Only give me the full plugin file in one, not in multiple parts. Now, why am I saying that? What'll happen is sometimes it might use JavaScript or jQuery and PHP, and it'll give you different files and ask you to put it together. Specifically tell it, we want one file. We want it to think like a WordPress expert. And you have to talk to it like you're talking to a 13-year-old about getting a gallon of milk. I need you to go to the Walgreens on the corner of Elm and Green Bay. I need you to get the 2% gallon milk with the blue top from Hillshire Farms. It's in the left-hand cabinet on the top. Now, you might not know exactly what that means, but that's why we're doing this. We're giving you two tools here that you can use to start doing stuff for yourself that will not break the crap out of your site and will not require you to add a whole new plugin from a whole nother developer, but just as like adding I want to add blue drawers with 2 drawers and silver knobs instead of white drawers. Okay. So what it's given me, which I love, is it's given me the ability to either publish this publicly to share, download it, and then I'd have to package it up as a zip file, or just copy. Let's just copy that. And then we go to our Fluent snippets. And this is the magic of using Fluent snippets. I'm going to paste it. Now, when I do that, I have to go to the top and notice there's 2 of these PHP starting tags. Just get rid of the second one. And notice it gave it a name, My Users List. Let's give it a name here so we can see what it is too. My Users List plugin. And we want it to run everywhere. And we're just going to create a snippet. Now, I'm not going to tell you this is going to make things, your life is better and you're going to be perfect. But you're going to feel very, very, very powerful after what I show you, if this works. Okay. As simple as that, without knowing much more, just telling it what I wanted, I've created a plugin. Now let's refresh the page and see if it did what we asked it to do. Notice it did. It created, look at this, an admin dashboard interface item called My Users. When we click on it, let's see if it did what we asked it to. It lists out the users and it lists a link to edit the profile of that user. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. Imagine how much that just saved you as far as time, effort, money. Would any of you thought about writing your own plugin? Now, let's take it further. Let's go. Awesome. Can you help me test this by doing some more? Can the plugin please give me a button to load a bunch of sample users who are a mix of subscribers, editors, authors, and also improve the plugin to sort them with a column at the top that is clickable between those roles. So I've asked it to give me some users in the plugin that I can add, and to improve this with columns so that I can filter and sort them and see how that works out. I'm inching the way from what my brain envisions to what the thing is doing in the IKEA called WordPress, which is I've already got the capabilities. I don't have to add a new plugin. I don't have to hire some dude. Look what it's doing. It's adding JavaScript, a second file. This is where I have to watch the 13-year-old. Wait, please put all code into one file only and give me the full file ready to copy and paste. You have to be like, it's the 2-gallon with the blue thing. Notice it's apologizing. I apologize, Dad. You're right. I will not spend the money buying a bunch of sour grapes candy with the milk money. Because if you don't watch out for this, it's going to run away with you. Not a bad way. Just normally when you write a plugin, there's going to be multiple files. It's like nobody has a kitchen where there's one drawer that has everything. But we're trying to keep this simple. So now it's explaining what it did. If you need to know, now you have a single file, create something. So let's copy this, and we're going to go back over to our fluent snippets. This is why this process is so awesome. And this has increased my development capabilities, I want to say 500%. I mean, I'm just cranking stuff out. So now I do Control A to select all, Control V to paste, and then I remove from the top this. Notice it even did me a favor. It made version 1.2, so I know that it's different than the other version. Let's see if it works. Snippet's been updated. Let's refresh the page to see if it's still got the same title. Sometimes it'll update the title. It's still called My Users. Let's see what we got. Let's use the button to generate some sample users. I'm very excited about this. Let's see if it's going to work or not. Aha! Sample users galore. Let's use the sorting capability. Now, role, administrator, editor, see how it's mixed up. Let's see what happens. Click. I'm hoping for the best. Administrator, author, editor, subscriber. It probably will reverse, I hope. Guys, can you see how crazy powerful this is? Like, I've just created in like blah, blah, blah talk an imaginary product. Now, let's take it one step further because this is similar to what I had. Awesome. It works. It always gets happy when I give it praise, which is hilarious. Is there anything else? It suggests other things you can do. Yes. Can we please add your suggestions? 1, which is to bulk edit, and then 5. 1 and 5, which is bulk editor and the ability to offload this as a CSV file in case I want to take it somewhere else. So in just a matter of minutes, AI for number 2, becoming more focused on personal relationships. When I start dealing with the problems that customers have, a lot of times they'll say, oh, Spence, I want to take what you've got and I want to do more. And I already have an umblata container of plugins and software and things in there. I don't want to add more of them, but what I can do is take this and then create either a standalone plugin or something that I add to one of them in order to increase the functionality. So guys, think about what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how did Legos get so huge? How did IKEA get so huge? Well, 80 years of Legos and probably 50 years of IKEA. They just kept talking with people, asking what they wanted, using their creativity and adding more accessories to what they had, but not changing the foundational nature of how they all work together. This is the thing that's wrong with WordPress. You don't need and want some stranger, as nice as they are from blah, 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 com, to make a whole nother plugin that's going to have a million other features. We want you to be able to use this tool to just extend what's already in the kit. And with my help, I'll keep you out of the woods. You can ask me to do it. You can do it yourself, etc. Okay, so now I copy the contents. I'm pretty excited about what this is doing. I'm releasing this as a paid plugin. No, I'm just kidding. But you could. You literally could, which is so crazy if you think about it. Like you could create a function or feature that does what you need it to do and make it part of your service. Okay, I'm going to take everything, remove it, paste in the new stuff, get rid of the extra PHP line. I'm going to save it. Notice it says version 1.3 now. Okay, very excited to see what we've got. So we have got my users. We've got all those tools. Check out the bulk select. Check it out, baby. It's just like we're building the WordPress core feature. Okay, let's change some authors. Let's do this. Let's do these two authors and let's change their role to editor. Okay, apply. User 1198, process 2 users, refresh the page. Ta-da! This is like better than I imagined. I promise you, I did not come up with this topic in advance. Let's export. Now, I didn't specify if it meant any or all. I suppose if it had logic, it would be only selected users. Let's see if it does that for selected users only. So export to CSV. And let's open up this online CSV viewer. Let's open that up here and see what we got. This is a bad tool. Let's pick a different one. I'm doing it in the browser just because that way you guys can see it. I'm really kind of blown away by this, to be honest. Okay, it didn't. Now, this is interesting. It didn't specify specifically the people that I had chosen, but I could tell it to do that. So I'll do one last thing with this, and then we could try. I want to go on to the next thing because we're at 10:36. Can you change the CSV export to only export folks who I chosen with the check boxes? And it knows what I mean, even with my spelling checks, even with the bad spelling, which makes it really easy for me as a human being because I actually use my phone or my voice interface. Sometimes it's faster, but I type like 300 words a minute as a leftover from, typing class in 7th grade and going to law school. So for me, typing fast is great, but I don't often have to worry about the spell check. So what I'm going to do is make this one last tweak. We'll test it, but the concept is holy cow. So think about this in terms of when you want to do things to please the relationships that you've got, the pain points that you've got. Your clients are like, look, I love it when I come to your newsletter, but I wish it did this. Or I love it when we have our Zoom calls, but I wish that you could take the summary of that call and put it in my profile. Or I wish that your page looked differently or whatever. There's probably going to be a case where we can just use the benefits of AI to improve your website without breaking anything, because all of this right now is done in a safe way. If you put bad code in, most of the time, Fluent Snippets is going to catch it. So I'm going to go back over here. Let's try this last one. And it'll tell you with a big yellow warning, something's wrong. I'll give you an example of that. Watch this. If I take this and I don't get rid of that PHP at the beginning, watch what happens when I try to save it. Code could not start. It won't let me do it. And if I put in some PHP that's going to seriously break the site, like a fatal error, it will give me a yellow notice and it will stop me from saving it. Awesome. Not every time, but 99% of the time. Okay, refresh one last time. Let's see if it'll just export the individual persons. So my users, let's do these 3 users. Export selected. I like how it even changed the word that was used, which was awesome, right? All right, so let's try it again. Let's see what we got. You can see I already can see that worked, which is just awesome. Now, I've used this in so many ways, but the basic takeaway is, so doing more productive output with less time, effort, anxiety. How much time, effort, anxiety are you going to save when you know that you don't have to go searching for crazy plugins or snippets or randomly trying stuff, that you can use this method to do a lot of stuff? And this oftentimes means also like getting rid of people. I mean, you could have a bunch of deadbeats or something that get into your site and you don't know what to do about it. But I actually been using this to solve that kind of problem, like creating algorithms to filter out likely people that are doing naughty stuff instead of loading an entire array of other plugins. Number 2, more focused on personal relationships because AI takes care of the drudge work. Well, think about the drudge work that I just saved. What if I have a list of people? Let's just do this. And I want to import it. Okay. So let's do one other thing here. I know I said that was last, but okay. One last feature. Please add an ability to upload a CSV of new users and also give me here a sample CSV CSV file I can use to test it that has, say, 200 users of a variety of roles. Now, as simple as just talking, it's like, let's do this. I mean, I've gotten stuff done at lunch that used to take me 5 weeks. Now, you still have to do the same thing I showed you when I was doing like my videos and so forth. You can't just accept everything on face value. And a lot of times it'll go into a loop of like, what? Like, what are you doing here? It just loses the thread. But if you use this method and you save your work while it's doing that, I use a tool called GitHub. This is standard in our business. GitHub, you can create a free account and you could create a thing called a gist, create a new gist. I don't know what that means, but I could take the code and save it here as a gist. It's like a library that I can use and save and share and edit, and it has versioning. So every time I create a new version, I have like a record of what I made, and I can go backwards in time. So you can use GitHub Gist. This has, by the way, AI capability built into it as well, which is a whole nother conversation beyond the scope of today. Okay, let's see what it's given us. And it's a version 4. Let's see if it works. And also, see, it's got a CSV. Oh, it says here it ran out. Hold on. It looks like you ran out. Can you please give me the full code and not stop? If you need, break it up into 2 parts, but rather it be one. Sometimes the limits of the LLM will cause it to stop in the middle. And you got to be kind of like a little experienced on this. There's no easy way to get it to like tell you in advance, but like I kind of saw that it had stopped at the end because I looked at the last line and it was like, I could tell that wasn't the end of a function. That might not be easy for you when you first start out, but you just have to be careful about that. Let's see if it finishes this time. Claude in particular has been doing a good job, but it's getting really lazy after the plugin gets to be a certain number of lines. I think they're throttling it, even though I have the paid version, which is not uncommon with LLMs today. This one is adding some features that are obviously more, you can tell it's gone from a couple lines of code to a lot of lines of code, but that's okay. We're having fun. Okay, see, it ran out. So you stopped again. Give me the file in 2 parts, and that way it won't break or stop. I'm going to have to be specific. Hey, I needed the 2-gallon milk or the 1-gallon milk. You brought me the bag of candy from Halloween. So notice now it's saying part 1. I'm going to show you how we deal with that. It's very geeky, I know, but like AI can do a jillion things. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks before we're done today. Different LLMs, by the way, learning what you like can have different features. Like Claude doesn't have built-in image capability, allegedly doesn't have live browsing capability. Perplexity has live browsing capability of the internet, but not generating of images. ChatGPT can generate images using DALL-E. Okay, so now give me 2 parts. So I'm going to click on part 1. I'm going to copy part 1. Watch what I do. I can use, by the way, the gist to assemble it, or I can just go in here and just do this on the fly using Fluent Snippets. I'm just going to go and I'm going to edit the snippet. I'm going to say, get rid of everything, paste in. I go to the top of the screen like I've been doing, get rid of the top. Then I'm going to go to the bottom. And notice here it says echo. I'm going to go to a new line. That's all you got to do. And now I'm going to get part 2. Oh, come on. Claude is having a bad day. Claude is annoying me. So here's what I'm going to show you how, when Claude is doing this nonsense, give me the full part 2. If it will not cooperate, I have to start a new chat. So to do that, what you'll do is take the code that we had that was successful and just start a new chat. I don't know what's up with the company Anthropic, but they seem to be really blocking the utility after a certain number of lines. And it's not a lot of lines. And I have the paid version, so I find this a little frustrating. But these are the ways that, you know, It's going into space, man. Okay. Let's see if it'll finish this. If not, I won't belabor the point. Okay. It finally gave me this version 2. And it gave me a sample CSV, which is give me a bigger sample CSV of 200. Okay. But let's go over here to, while it's doing that, let's go over here to part 2. Let's copy that while it's getting me the rest. Multitask. I paste that in, update. We should get a green light. We got a green light, which is a good sign. So now we're going to go over, and I'm glad that this is, we got there. Took a little effort. We got there. Okay, import users from CSV. Let's get that CSV list that it supposedly gave me. Okay. Let's just download this. It's still cranking it out here. Okay. So here's a CSV file. Let's get that. We're going to download it. Let's cross our fingers and see it works. Import users from CSV. File upload error. Not sure why that is. Oh, I got to choose the file. That's why. I wasn't familiar with the interface. So the download is, let's see if I got the download. Hold on. Sample users 200 CSV. Let's find that. Looking. I think it's mixed in with a bunch of stuff I was working on. Well, let's try it one more time. Hold on. Let's download to file. Let's do file save as, and we'll save it to our desktop, or to our, let's save it to the desktop so I can find it easier. Okay, let's try it again. Desktop. Not sure why it's given me, I know it's there, but it's not giving it to me. So let's see. Sample user CSV. It's in text file format. Maybe that's why. Let's see if it works. Kind of wild how much, I was really surprised how much I was able to do here. And if this works, of course, we'll see. It's still spinning in the browser. You may not see it because it's underneath the Launch Club logo, but the little spinner's going. What I might say to it if I was going to keep going with this, and I'm not, I promise, is I might say, put an on-screen display that shows progress bar or a spinning wheel or, you know, one of those sliders. But I didn't need to, because check it out. It works. That's crazy. So what I just built with you live with no net was a tool that you can use for importing, organizing, managing user roles. I could add a delete function, all this crazy stuff. Okay. Number 3, standardizing your tech stack using LaunchKit and then adding only necessary snippets, plugins, or content using AI assistance. Well, this is kind of what I'm talking about here. So now I've got a tool that complements what I've got. And what if I want to jazz this up further? Well, here's where AI is interesting. So let's, for example, ask Cloud, are you able to generate an image? It's going to say no. Right? But ChatGPT can. So ChatGPT. We're going to go to chat.openai, which is available for free. Please generate an image that is for a WordPress plugin and make it super duper photo realistic. You have to tell it what you want. This should be, let's say 1920 by 1080. So it's the format, you know, we need. And 72 DPI. You don't have to worry about that. That's just telling it, don't make it for like publishing in a catalog. I want a smaller file for web publishing. And the image should show a super duper happy entrepreneur at a computer looking like they just saved tons of time and money and frustration, and their hands are raised in victory as they look at screen. Let's see what it generates. Now, this is different than what I showed you before, because this is something that is Like you can have a smaller prompt. This can generate tons of images. Some of them get really weird, but some of them are getting really good. This one's pretty good. Okay. Here's the image, right? So what I can do is I can take this image and I can use this in any way I want. But like, think how hard it would be for you to go and like hire somebody to create this image from scratch. I have friends in the business and I've convinced them thankfully to start working in this concept that I've been pushing for WordPress as a service where their talents are using their visual skills, their eyes. Like I showed you for picking things. There are instances like this where they could have made this from scratch. It would take them like a day or 2 days or 3 days. I mean, think about how hard this would be. Not everybody is cut out for this because this does look a little uncanny valley, but this is pretty crazy, right? Can you make it even more realistic? Let's see what comes up with next. By using some words, we can tweak it and make it more what we want. Now, this would be useful, for example, like when you're building your site and you have to have using LaunchKit, using cadence blocks and rows and things, and you need to have your featured image. Okay. I don't know if that's more realistic. Change the man to a woman. Here to a hairy white dog and put a hat and sunglasses on the dog. It's crazy stuff, right? So I'm not going to carry on with this too much because you've seen this before, but this tool is essentially using the skills of AI for me to generate something as a featured image or to use as part of, I could put it in the plugin or something. Like it gets the point across. Okay. Let's take it one step further. Let's go back now to ChatGPT and make a new prompt. And one of the things I'll do is I have to figure something out. ChatGPT is live, connected to everything. And it'll do some crazy, crazy, crazy stuff live. It'll also build stuff live. Perplexity is a great replacement for solving a problem. Like I needed to research stuff. ChatGPT doesn't research as well as Perplexity. So here's an example. If I'm in ChatGPT and I needed to actually do something, please go to the internet and find the last 3 posts that Spencer Foreman made at spencerforeman.com about WordPress. Let's see what it gives me. I have no idea. And it'll also reveal how new it is because I know what I posted. Okay, so that's kind of bogus. This reveals that it was last trained on January 19th. That seems out of date. Can you check? Let's go. I'm going to go over here, spencerforeman.com. Let's give it a specific URL. Okay. And this is where it may or may not work, but you can find out by comparison. Check this URL and see what are the latest things. And this would be great if you're researching a topic or you're trying to come up with stuff. Okay, so the training data was as of January, which, okay, whatever. Let's try Perplexity, just as a comparison. Make a new search. Please check spencerforeman.com and give me the last 3 posts made on the home page or the blog. I'm not sure why Perplexity, maybe it's unhappy because I'm using the interface might not be happy because I'm using the video thing because the text is there, but it seems like it's just not showing like when we started. There it is. Okay. Now this is interesting. Notice, as I promised, Perplexity's got it right. It's got, your website billboard is broken. Let's fix it. Like that is right here. Ta-da. Now imagine, take those 3 topics and make me a list of 52 weekly newsletter topics I can use for my paid newsletter on similar points and give me URLs to the websites that may be referred to in your list. Put that in a CSV format so I can manage it in a Google spreadsheet. What I've just asked it to do is create a year of content for me to publish. When I remember I was telling you, one of my clients is interested in bird watching. Imagine that I specify all these various sites that might be useful. And in doing so, I want topics from them. What I said to him was, if you go to those websites, they would be more than thrilled when you feature their business as one of those 52 weeks, more than thrilled to tell their audience in their own email list about your newsletter. Kathleen is a pickleballer. If you go to all of these companies that have stuff and lists of their own customers, if you promote their stuff to your newsletter audience, they will reciprocate by publishing your newsletter's URL and sign up. It's literally back to relationships. When you help somebody out, they are wanting to help you. When you give it in an easy format, it's easy to keep going. So here I've got this list. Here's the list of all topics. And I can copy that. And let's see if it can give me a download version. This is copy. Can you give me this in a download version file I can upload to Google Sheets? Okay. See, another interesting thing, Perplexity can't manage it, but that's okay, because we could just go to, like, for example, sheets.google or one of those free tools, because they're infinite, and I just make a new sheet, right? Let's see what happens if I paste in here. There you go. Guess what I've got? Spence has now got a year worth of content ideas, and I take these, and once a week or in advance, can you give me an example for week 1? Write a full 30-minute podcast script outline and summary for me to publish on that topic, and include reference links. Let's see what it gives me. Notice, I'm able to generate stuff that I will obviously go back and edit, but I'm able to get everything I need compounded into little packages that I can copy and paste and save these things, right? So if I took this, I could save it, and I could go to Google Sheets, and I can add another page, and I can paste this. Okay, and here's this week. And then I could just go ahead and change the title of this. Okay, rename week 1. That's it, baby. We're living in the Jetsons. If only healthcare was this easy. Okay. I want to say thank you to my audience, because a couple things. First of all, you guys have been amazing in supporting me through my own journey this last many months. My physical health is improving. I still have some things to do and to go, but you hopefully have been seeing in my energy. Along the way, I got 1 or 2 last takeaways to leave you with. Pain is one of the most clarifying motivators in the world. I mean, physical pain, emotional pain, financial pain. Pain filters out the things that are important. And I have been trying to be, through my journey, which has been ups and downs, very stoic and very interested in using this journey as something productive. And the one takeaway I can say is that the pain that I've gone through from all the stuff I've had to deal with, and everybody has their own thing, since March of 20, I want to say it was May of 2023, 15 months or so, is I've had to do as much as possible with my hands tied behind my back, or my legs tied behind my back, proverbially. And I still struggle. But what I find is, the more I apply these principles, the more I remove stuff, the more I simplify stuff, the more I just explain to people, this is what you got. And it's a relationship with me plus a streamlined set of tools. My business has never been better. My customers have never been happier. And now that there's AI tools, I've shared with you how I'm able to do in a couple minutes what used to take me weeks or months or hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. So I no longer need a team of people. And these are the things that I envision for all of us. You on my team, being a member of LaunchKit and WP Launchify, we're going to the moon. And I'm going to be your guide because I am using these tools to help yourself as entrepreneurs, smaller businesses, larger businesses, rethink what the hell is WordPress as the engine. It's the framework on that holds all of these things together, but by applying it in a certain way, you get a completely different outcome for what you want to achieve. And the pain that you're suffering now is one of the things that I can actually help you solve. I can help you solve the Frankenstein monster and the shiny ball syndrome. I can help you make more money with less time so you can spend more time with your clients, your customers, your family, your friends, yourself. And in doing so, we're going to go far. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Bye.